Everyone, we all live by certain principles. Some we pick up from experience, some from mentors, and some through sheer trial and error. Today, I want to share with you three simple yet powerful rules that have completely transformed my life. These rules help me overcome obstacles, achieve success, and find clarity in moments of uncertainty. Taking ownership means accepting responsibility instead of blaming others. In life, it's easy to point fingers when things go wrong. We often blame circumstances, other people, or even bad luck for our failures and setbacks. However, the moment we shift our mindset and take full responsibility for our actions, decisions, and outcomes, we regain control over our lives. Taking ownership does not mean that everything is always our fault, but it does mean that we acknowledge our role in every situation and focus on what we can do to improve it. When we blame external factors, we give away our power. If we think that our failures are due to bad luck, an unfair boss, or the economy, we subconsciously convince ourselves that we are powerless to change our situation. This kind of mindset leads to stagnation and frustration because it puts our success in the hands of others. On the other hand, when we take full responsibility, we shift from being victims of circumstance to being the architects of our future. We begin to ask better questions, such as, what can I do differently? Or how can I improve my skills to overcome this obstacle? This simple shift in perspective can lead to significant personal growth and better results in any area of life. Taking ownership also builds resilience and credibility. When we acknowledge our mistakes instead of making excuses, we learn from them and become better individuals. People respect and trust those who take responsibility rather than those who constantly deflect blame. In professional environments, leaders who own their mistakes and work towards solutions are seen as more competent and reliable than those who always look for a scapegoat. The same applies in personal relationships. When we admit our faults and take action to make things right, we foster trust and mutual respect. The reality is that life will always throw unexpected challenges our way. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Instead of focusing on what went wrong and why it's someone else's fault, we can choose to focus on what we can do to move forward. This proactive approach not only leads to success but also builds a mindset of confidence, growth, and resilience. We often hear about the importance of working hard and pushing ourselves to the limit, but what truly leads to long-term success is consistency, not just intensity. Many people start new projects, habits, or goals with an incredible burst of motivation, only to burn out or lose focus after a short period. Intensity is exciting, but it is often unsustainable. Consistency, on the other hand, is what builds real results over time. When we commit to small, repeated actions, we create momentum that leads to lasting change. Whether it's improving our health, learning a new skill, or advancing in our careers, it is not about how hard we go on one particular day, but rather about how often we show up and put in the work. One of the reasons consistency is so powerful is because it compounds over time. A small effort done regularly can yield massive results in the long run. If someone reads just 10 pages of a book every day, they will have finished multiple books in a year. If a person exercises for just 30 minutes a day, they will see noticeable improvements in their fitness over months and years. The same principle applies to learning, relationships, and even financial growth. While intensity may provide quick, short-term results, it is consistency that determines whether success is maintained. The key is to focus on building habits rather than relying on bursts of motivation. Motivation fluctuates, but habits, once established, become a natural part of daily life. Another crucial reason consistency matters more than intensity is that it builds discipline and resilience. When we commit to showing up every day, even when we don't feel like it, we train our minds to push through obstacles and keep going. Intensity often relies on emotions. When we feel inspired, we work hard, but when motivation fades, we struggle to continue. Consistency, however, removes emotions from the equation. It teaches us that progress happens even on the days when we don't feel our best. This mindset shift is essential because in any long-term pursuit, there will be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The people who succeed are not always the most talented or the most driven in short bursts. They are the ones who keep moving forward even when it's hard. Every time we step outside our comfort zones, we grow. Discomfort is a natural part of progress, yet many people avoid it because it feels unfamiliar and sometimes even painful. However, the truth is that the moments we feel the most uncomfortable are often the moments when we are learning, improving, and becoming stronger individuals. Growth does not happen in comfort. If we only stick to what we know and avoid challenges, we remain stagnant. Pushing ourselves to face new situations, take risks, and embrace difficult experiences is what allows us to evolve into better versions of ourselves. Whether it's learning a new skill, speaking up in a meeting, starting a new business, or having a tough conversation, stepping into discomfort leads to breakthroughs. One of the reasons embracing discomfort is so powerful is that it rewires the way we perceive challenges. When we avoid difficult situations, our fear of them grows. The more we shy away from something, the scarier it becomes in our minds. But when we face discomfort repeatedly, we begin to realize that it is not as bad as we imagined. We build confidence, resilience, and adaptability. The more we expose ourselves to challenges, the more comfortable we become with uncertainty and adversity. This mindset is crucial because life is unpredictable, and being able to adapt to new situations is a key factor in success. If we embrace discomfort instead of avoiding it, we open ourselves to endless opportunities for growth, learning, and achievement. Another reason discomfort is essential for progress is that it helps us break through self-imposed limitations. Many of us hold ourselves back because of fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. But when we challenge ourselves and push beyond those fears, we realize that we are capable of much more than we thought. Some of the greatest achievements in life come from people who were willing to step into discomfort and take risks. Every successful person has faced moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. But instead of letting those feelings stop them, they leaned into the discomfort and kept going. The truth is, if we only do what is easy, we will never grow. But if we embrace the difficult, we unlock our true potential. Personal rules shape our lives, whether we consciously choose them or not. Every decision we make, every habit we develop, and every reaction we have to challenges is guided by a set of internal rules we follow, whether we realize it or not. Some of these rules come from our upbringing, experiences, and the people around us. Others are formed through trial and error as we navigate life. The key difference between those who live with purpose and direction and those who feel stuck or lost is that successful individuals actively choose and refine the rules they live by. If we do not take the time to examine our personal rules, we may find ourselves following ones that do not serve us. Rules that hold us back, make us doubt ourselves, or keep us trapped in unproductive cycles. When we consciously decide which rules will guide us, we take control of our actions, our mindset, and ultimately our future. The impact of personal rules goes far beyond our individual choices. They shape our relationships, our careers, and our overall sense of fulfillment. If someone operates by a rule that says, "I must always avoid conflict," they may struggle to stand up for themselves, leading to frustration and unspoken resentment in their relationships. On the other hand, if they replace that rule with, "I will communicate openly and honestly even when it's uncomfortable," they can build stronger, healthier connections with others. The same applies to work and success. A person who follows the rule, "I will only do what is easy and familiar," will never push themselves beyond their current abilities, limiting their potential. But if they choose a rule like, I will embrace challenges because they help me grow. They will constantly improve and expand their opportunities. The rules we live by influence our thoughts, our emotions, and the way we interpret the world. By taking the time to define and refine them, we can shape our lives in a way that aligns with our goals and values. Another reason personal rules matter so much is that they become the foundation for consistency and discipline. When we have clear rules that align with who we want to become, decision-making becomes easier. There is no need to debate whether to skip a workout, whether to procrastinate on an important task, or whether to settle for less than we deserve, because our rules provide a clear guide for how we should act. Without clear personal rules, every situation becomes an internal battle between what we feel like doing in the moment and what we know is best for us in the long run. But when we have strong, well-defined rules, we remove that uncertainty. We no longer have to rely on motivation or willpower because we have already committed to a certain standard for ourselves. The most successful people in the world are not necessarily the ones with the most talent or resources. They are the ones who have set rules for themselves that keep them on track, no matter what challenges come their way. Blaming external factors takes away control over our own lives, and when we fall into the habit of pointing fingers, we weaken our ability to create real change. It is easy to say that our failures are the result of bad luck, unfair circumstances, or other people's mistakes. While external factors do play a role in our experiences, the moment we make them the focus of our attention, we give away our power. The truth is we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. When we take full ownership of our actions and decisions, we put ourselves in the driver's seat of our lives. We stop waiting for things to change and instead start taking action to improve our situation. This shift in mindset is one of the most powerful transformations a person can experience because it turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing setbacks as unfair, we begin to see them as challenges that can teach us valuable lessons and make us stronger. One of the biggest dangers of blaming external factors is that it creates a victim mindset. When we believe that our success or failure is entirely dependent on things outside our control, we lose motivation to take action. We start to feel powerless and stuck, waiting for circumstances to improve instead of actively working to improve them ourselves. The reality is that life is not always fair and challenges are inevitable. But the people who succeed in the face of adversity are the ones who refuse to let circumstances define them. They focus on what they can control, whether it's their attitude, their effort, or their willingness to learn and adapt. By taking responsibility for their lives, they put themselves in a position to create real change, rather than waiting for change to happen to them. Taking ownership also builds resilience, confidence, and credibility. When we acknowledge our mistakes and take responsibility for our actions, we learn valuable lessons that help us grow. Instead of making excuses or blaming others, we focus on finding solutions and moving forward. This approach not only makes us more effective in our personal and professional lives, but also earns us the trust and respect of those around us. People admire and follow those who own their decisions and take responsibility, rather than those who constantly shift blame. In the workplace, leaders who take accountability for their team's success or failure are seen as trustworthy and competent, while those who deflect blame quickly lose respect. The same principle applies in personal relationships. When we take responsibility for our words and actions, we create an environment of honesty and trust. It shows that we are willing to grow, adapt, and improve rather than stubbornly avoiding responsibility. Avoiding discomfort leads to stagnation and missed opportunities, because growth only happens when we challenge ourselves. Many people stay in their comfort zones because it feels safe and familiar, but comfort does not create progress. When we only do what feels easy, we limit our ability to learn, improve, and achieve our goals. Discomfort is a natural part of any meaningful journey, whether it's learning a new skill, starting a new job, or making a major life decision. The people who succeed are the ones who embrace that discomfort instead of running from it. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger and more capable. Instead of fearing failure, they see it as a necessary step in the learning process. They recognize that the initial struggle of trying something new is temporary, but the benefits of pushing through discomfort last a lifetime. One of the most important reasons to embrace discomfort is that it expands our sense of what is possible. When we avoid difficult experiences, we reinforce the belief that we are not capable of handling them. But when we face discomfort head-on, we prove to ourselves that we are stronger than we thought. Each time we push through fear, uncertainty, or difficulty, we build confidence in our ability to handle challenges. Over time, what once felt impossible starts to feel normal, and we begin to take on even greater challenges. This cycle of growth is what leads to real transformation. Every successful person has faced moments of doubt, fear, and struggle, but instead of retreating to their comfort zone, they pushed forward. That is what sets them apart. The willingness to embrace discomfort, learn from it, and use it as a stepping stone to greater things. Another reason avoiding discomfort leads to stagnation is that it keeps us trapped in patterns that no longer serve us. Many people stay in unfulfilling jobs, unhealthy relationships, or limiting beliefs because they fear the discomfort of change. But staying in the same place out of fear only leads to regret and missed opportunities. The reality is that discomfort is often a sign that we are growing. When we feel challenged, stretched, or uncertain, it means we are stepping into new territory and developing new skills. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, we should see it as a sign that we are on the right path. The most rewarding experiences in life often come from pushing past our fears and taking bold action. Whether it is pursuing a passion, speaking up for ourselves, or taking a risk, the willingness to step into discomfort is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who stay stuck, small. Consistent efforts lead to long-term success more than short bursts of effort, because true progress is not made in a single moment of inspiration, but in the accumulation of daily actions. Many people believe that success comes from a few big intense efforts, but in reality, it is the small habits repeated over time that create real and lasting change. Whether it's building a career, improving health, mastering a skill, or strengthening relationships, it is the steady daily commitment that leads to meaningful results. A person who exercises for hours once a month will not see the same results as someone who exercises for 30 minutes every day. The same applies to learning. Reading a book for 10 minutes every day is far more effective than cramming for hours once in a while. This is because consistency compounds, creating momentum that builds upon itself. What seems like a small, insignificant effort in the moment adds up over time and leads to exponential growth. One of the biggest reasons consistency matters is that it helps overcome the natural tendency to rely on motivation. Motivation is unpredictable, it comes and goes, making it unreliable for long-term success. On the days when we feel inspired, it is easy to put in the effort, but true progress happens on the days when we do not feel like doing the work, yet show up anyway. Successful people understand that discipline is more important than motivation. They don't wait for the perfect moment or for inspiration to strike. They follow their routines and stick to their commitments regardless of how they feel. This is why small, daily actions are so powerful. They remove the need for willpower and create an automatic system for success. Once a habit is built, it requires less effort to maintain, and over time the results become inevitable. Another reason small, consistent efforts are more effective than short bursts of effort is that they reduce burnout and make goals more sustainable. When people push themselves too hard all at once, they often exhaust their energy, leading to frustration and giving up. However, when progress is broken down into manageable steps, it becomes more enjoyable and sustainable. Instead of trying to accomplish everything at once, a person who focuses on daily improvement avoids the stress of overwhelming goals and builds steady momentum. Success is not about how intensely we start, but about how consistently we continue. The small daily steps we take might seem insignificant at first, but over time they create the foundation for incredible achievements. Success is built in daily habits, not just moments of motivation, because what we do consistently shapes our identity and determines our outcomes. People often think that success happens in one defining moment, a big opportunity, a breakthrough idea, or a stroke of luck. But the truth is, those moments are often the result of years of preparation and consistent effort. A writer who publishes a best-selling book did not wake up one morning with sudden brilliance. They wrote consistently, refining their skills day by day. An athlete who wins a championship did not train intensely for just a few weeks before the game. They practiced daily for years. The foundation of any great achievement is laid through small, repeated actions over time. One of the key reasons daily habits matter more than motivation is that habits create structure and stability. Motivation is fleeting. It can be high one day and disappear the next. If success depended on motivation alone, most people would give up before they ever reach their goals. However, when a person builds habits, they no longer have to rely on motivation. Habits automate behavior, making it easier to take action without overthinking. When an action becomes part of a daily routine, it no longer feels like an effort. It becomes second nature. This is why people who commit to consistent daily improvement see far better results than those who rely on short-term bursts of inspiration. Another reason daily habits are more powerful than motivation is that they create gradual, lasting change. Motivation often leads people to start with extreme, unrealistic goals, only to burn out and quit. However, when a person focuses on daily habits, they build progress that lasts. A small improvement every day adds up to massive growth over time. Whether it's learning a language, improving physical fitness, or developing a new skill, the key to mastery is consistent practice. By making success a daily habit rather than an occasional effort, we ensure that progress continues even on days when motivation is low. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. Discomfort leads to progress because challenges force us to develop new skills, adapt to new situations, and build resilience. Many people resist stepping outside their comfort zones because it feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable. But this resistance is what keeps them stuck. Comfort zones are designed to keep us safe, but they also keep us from reaching our full potential. Every significant achievement in life comes from taking risks and pushing beyond what feels easy. The most successful individuals are not the ones who avoid challenges, but the ones who embrace them, knowing that discomfort is a sign of growth. One of the biggest reasons discomfort is necessary for progress is that it forces us to develop problem-solving skills. When we stay in our comfort zones, we operate on autopilot, relying on what we already know. However, when we face challenges, we are required to think critically, learn new strategies, and adapt. This process strengthens our ability to handle difficult situations, making us more capable and confident. Every time we step into discomfort, we expand our abilities and prepare ourselves for even greater challenges in the future. This is why people who continuously challenge themselves grow at a much faster rate than those who avoid discomfort. Another reason discomfort leads to progress is that it helps us break through self-imposed limitations. Many of the barriers we face in life are not physical but mental. We convince ourselves that we are not capable, not ready, or not good enough. However, when we push ourselves into uncomfortable situations, we prove to ourselves that we are stronger than we thought. Each time we overcome a difficult situation, we redefine what we believe is possible. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes achievable, and our confidence grows. This cycle of pushing past fear and expanding our comfort zone is what leads to true success and self-improvement. Avoiding discomfort leads to stagnation. because it prevents us from experiencing new opportunities and reaching our full potential. Many people settle for less than they are capable of because they fear the unknown or worry about failure. However, the reality is that growth requires risk. No one ever achieved greatness by staying where they were comfortable. The most successful people in the world, whether in business, sports, or the arts, are those who continuously push themselves to improve, even when it is difficult. They understand that failure is not something to fear, but something to learn from. Every mistake, every challenge, and every uncomfortable experience is an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. Another reason avoiding discomfort leads to stagnation is that it limits our ability to adapt to change. The world is constantly evolving, and those who resist change are often left behind. By embracing discomfort and seeking out new challenges, we develop the flexibility and resilience needed to thrive in any situation. The people who achieve the most in life are not necessarily the ones who have the most talent or resources, but the ones who are willing to step into discomfort, learn from their failures, and keep moving forward. By accepting that discomfort is a necessary part of growth, we open ourselves to new possibilities, greater achievements, and a life filled with continuous improvement. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a necessary step toward achieving it. Many people fear failure because they see it as a sign of weakness or incompetence. But the reality is that every successful person has failed multiple times before reaching their goals. Failure is not something to be ashamed of. It is a powerful teacher that provides valuable lessons and insights that cannot be learned any other way. When we fail, we gain a deeper understanding of what works and what doesn't, allowing us to refine our strategies and improve our skills. The most successful individuals in the world did not reach the top because they never failed. They reached the top because they used their failures as stepping stones to success. Instead of seeing failure as an endpoint, they saw it as a necessary part of growth and development. One of the most important reasons failure leads to success is that it builds resilience. When we experience setbacks and disappointments, we are faced with a choice. We can either give up or push forward. Those who choose to keep going develop mental toughness, which is essential for long-term success. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is something that is built through repeated exposure to challenges and difficulties. The more we experience failure and learn to overcome it, the stronger we become. Over time, we develop the ability to handle obstacles with confidence and determination rather than fear and self-doubt. This resilience is what separates those who achieve great things from those who give up too soon. Another reason failure is crucial for success is that it teaches us to adapt and innovate. If everything always went according to plan, there would be no need to adjust our approach or think creatively. However, failure forces us to analyze our mistakes, identify weaknesses, and find new ways to achieve our goals. Many of the greatest inventions and breakthroughs in history were the result of failure. Thomas Edison famously failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. But he saw each failure as progress. Instead of viewing failure as a setback, he saw it as a lesson. Each failed attempt brought him one step closer to success. This mindset of learning from failure and continuously improving is what leads to real lasting achievements. Failure also helps build humility and self-awareness. When we succeed, it is easy to assume that we have all the answers and that our approach is perfect. However, failure reminds us that there is always more to learn and room for improvement. It encourages us to seek feedback, listen to different perspectives, and remain open to growth. People who fear failure often avoid taking risks, which limits their potential. However, those who embrace failure as a natural part of progress are more willing to step outside their comfort zones and pursue ambitious goals. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but a necessary part of the journey toward mastery. Another reason failure is essential for success is that it eliminates the fear of trying. Many people hesitate to take action because they are afraid of failing, but When we reframe failure as a learning experience rather than a negative outcome, we remove that fear. We become more willing to take risks, try new things, and challenge ourselves in ways that lead to growth. Every failure brings us one step closer to success because it provides information that helps us improve. The only real failure is refusing to try at all. By embracing failure as a valuable teacher, we unlock our full potential and open ourselves to greater opportunities than we ever imagined possible. Self-discipline is the foundation of success because it allows us to stay committed to our goals regardless of external circumstances, emotions, or distractions. Many people rely on motivation to take action, but motivation is inconsistent. It comes and goes based on how we feel in the moment. Discipline, on the other hand, ensures that we keep moving forward even when we do not feel like it. The most successful individuals in the world are not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who have mastered the ability to stay consistent with their efforts, even when it is difficult. Discipline is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream about them. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when it is not convenient or enjoyable. One of the key reasons self-discipline is crucial is that it creates consistency, which is the secret to long-term success. Achieving anything meaningful in life requires sustained effort over time, whether it is building a career, improving health, mastering a skill, or strengthening relationships. The people who succeed are the ones who show up day after day, putting in the necessary work. Without discipline, progress becomes inconsistent. One day of effort followed by weeks of procrastination will never lead to real results. Self-discipline ensures that we continue taking action even when progress feels slow or when challenges arise. Over time, this consistency compounds, turning small daily efforts into massive achievements. Another reason self-discipline is essential is that it strengthens willpower and helps us resist distractions. In today's world, there are countless things competing for our attention: social media, entertainment, and endless sources of instant gratification. It is easy to get sidetracked and waste time on things that do not contribute to our goals. However, discipline allows us to stay focused on what truly matters. It helps us prioritize long-term success over short-term pleasure. Every time we choose discipline over distraction, we strengthen our ability to make better decisions in the future. Just like a muscle, self-discipline grows stronger the more we use it. The more we train ourselves to stay committed to our priorities, the easier it becomes to resist temptations that derail our progress. Self-discipline also plays a major role in building confidence and self-respect. When we set goals and follow through on them, we prove to ourselves that we are capable and reliable. On the other hand, when we constantly break promises to ourselves, whether it is skipping workouts, procrastinating on important tasks, or giving up on commitments, we lose trust in our own abilities. This leads to self-doubt and frustration. However, every time we exercise discipline and follow through on what we say we will do, we reinforce a positive self-image. We start to see ourselves as someone who takes action, follows through, and gets results. This confidence then spills over into every other area of life, making it easier to take on bigger challenges and achieve greater success. Another reason self-discipline is critical is that it helps us develop resilience in the face of obstacles. No matter what path we choose in life, there will be challenges, setbacks, and difficulties. Those who lack discipline often give up at the first sign of resistance. However, disciplined individuals understand that success is not about avoiding challenges, it is about pushing through them. Discipline keeps us going when things get tough, reminding us that temporary struggles are a necessary part of progress. Instead of being discouraged by difficulties, we see them as opportunities to grow stronger and more capable. The ability to keep going despite challenges is what ultimately leads to success. Lastly, self-discipline gives us freedom. While it may seem restrictive at first, discipline actually allows us to take control of our lives and create the future we want. When we lack discipline, we become slaves to our impulses, emotions, and external circumstances. We drift through life, reacting to situations rather than shaping them. However, when we develop strong discipline, we gain the power to make intentional choices. We can take charge of our health, finances, careers, and personal growth. Instead of being controlled by bad habits and distractions, we take control of our own destiny. This sense of ownership over our actions and outcomes leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. By mastering self-discipline, we gain the ability to achieve anything we set our minds to. In the end, the rules that change our lives are not just abstract ideas, but guiding principles that shape our daily actions, decisions, and mindset. Success is not built on luck or fleeting moments of inspiration, but on consistency, resilience, and discipline. By embracing failure as a stepping stone, stepping outside our comfort zones, and staying committed to our goals, even when motivation fades, we unlock our true potential. The journey to success is not always easy, but it is always worth it. When we take control of our habits, mindset, and actions, we no longer wait for change to happen, we create it. The power to transform our lives lies in our hands, and the choices we make each day determine the future we build.